everybody, this is Jackie Lukman.
And Abdul Shahid Lukman here.
And welcome to a special edition of Live and Coffee, Current Events and Politics in Lukman Nation.
Always still the most dangerous show on social media.
I mean, we had to talk about the debacle, right? There was no way we could get through this week without talking about that debacle Tuesday night. Not the debate, because that's not what it was. It was a debacle. But we're going to get to that in a minute. Thanks for joining us tonight, y'all. We appreciate that you have joined us to talk about this particular issue and on this special broadcast. Just want to remind you that if you like what you see and hear coming out of Lukman Nation, consider becoming a patron of Lukman Nation.
We just had a good, right before this show, we just had a good chat with our patrons.
Yep, you get one of those at least once every other week. We try not to commit or overcommit ourselves, because we do that. But at least once every other week, we try to have a good show just for our patrons, just to chat with folks who support us. And we made a really exciting announcement just for our patrons, but you won't know what it is unless you become a patron. So you can find us on patreon.com/LukmanNation, LUQMANNATION. But if you can't do that right now, we understand that. What you can do to support us is subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at LukmanNation1, and like us on Facebook. Also share our stuff far and wide.
Right, and I'm glad that you said about sharing, because see, Facebook trying to do some oogie joogie woogie, what my friend Birch Brown would say, but they're trying to do some joogie woogie when it comes to our content. Our numbers are dropping. I'm not that we never chase the audience. So let's make that clear. I'm not sitting here saying our numbers are dropping to that, but Facebook is doing some joogie woogie stuff with the algorithms and stuff, and they're really trying to stifle our content. They're trying to stifle our voice, and it's not just us. There's other people on their social media platform who is experiencing the same thing. So there's an orchestrated effort on the part of Facebook to silence certain voices. And so this is where we need you guys. We need the Lukman Nation family to really share, get watch parties out there, and amplify our voice, and it's serious when we come at you like this, and to help us amplify our voice to get the message out there, because there's elements out there that are trying to stifle us, shut us down, and they trying to amplify the other voices, and those voices that definitely do not want to see any type of meaningful change in the society that will benefit everybody, so there it is.
Yep. I mean, it's just crazy how Facebook will let right-wing groups and white supremacist groups,
racist cop pages just
proliferate and say all kinds of stuff, and they're fine, but we gotta scratch and beg for the ability not to get banned from sharing because somebody reported us because they didn't like that we criticized Israel. Come on, y'all.
Exactly.
But anyway, for folks on YouTube, I apologize, the title is incorrect. That was last week's show. This week's tonight, we're going to talk about the first presidential debacle. Should have surprised no one. But before we get into that, I want to talk to you about today, October 1st, because it's a very special day in the realm of the international struggle against militarism. Because on today, our comrades at Black Alliance for Peace, which we are members of. Lukman Nation is an organization member of Black Alliance for Peace, but the Lukmans individually are members of Black Alliance for Peace. We organize with them. Black Alliance for Peace today is recognizing and organizing the International Day of Action on AFRICOM. That is today. What is AFRICOM? You've heard us talk about AFRICOM quite a bit over the past year. AFRICOM is the United States Africa Command. And basically it is a network of U.S. military bases and operations that exist across the continent of Africa. There you go. Now this map is from 2014. This is 6 years ago. So this map is outdated. We don't have an updated one, but we can guarantee you that there are more operations and more places on the continent where the United States has a footprint. And as you can see, U.S. military action on the continent basically cuts it in half.
So you want to know why we can't get Medicare for all, why they can't pay for it, why we can't get meaningful, why we can't get anything that would benefit the people, because that's where all the money is going.
Right. And you want to know why there are all of these, there's all this unrest in African nations all over the place, in Chad, in Djibouti, in Niger, in Sudan, in all over the place in Africa. There is all of this continuing, unrelenting unrest. This is a large part of the reason for that. The other part of the reason for the unrest on the continent in certain countries is certainly because of the vestiges of colonialism and neo-colonialism from the European the former European colonial masters, because they still have a footprint on the continent too. They're involved with these military activities. France and Germany are still involved in some activities in Africa, on the continent, in their former colonies, doing their best to continue to control the resources that they established colonies to steal. So the United States is there under the guise of fighting terrorism, but truly the United States is there for resource control, for the exploitation of labor, to continue to implement the imperialist mandate of the United States and its allies, which is to control the resources of the continent and to exploit the people, the first two, and to use Africa as a geopolitical staging ground to oppose the rising influence in geopolitics of China and Russia. So what does this mean for us? Why should we care about what is going on in Africa? Because what happens on the continent that the tax dollars of this government pay for affects Africans there by dropping bombs on communities that are communities and countries that are trying to map out their own self-determination, and they can never be allowed to because the tax dollars of this government continue to destabilize those countries. Libya, just one recent example, which led to the further destabilization of the entire region, because what was Libya doing? Gaddafi was trying to unite Africa under a different currency apart from the US dollar. So the resources from this government go to killing African people, stealing their resources, exploiting their people. And what we get for that investment, we get the same kind of militarism and assault on Africans right here on the streets of this country.
Yep, it's all connected. Afrikaan is basically, as I heard Brother Netfa Freeman from Pan-African
Community Action. Also
group,
a member of Black Alliance for Peace.
I remember him saying that, basically Afrikaan is just a big American police force policing black bodies as they're doing here. So it's all connected, and we have to look at, a lot of times, Jackie, we share a lot of content about Afrikaan, and don't seem to be a lot of interest in it, and I think that it doesn't seem to be a lot of interest in it from people on the left because they don't see the connection. They don't, we're saying Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that it's just confined within the U.S. borders.
Right.
Black Lives Matter basically is a little bit more involved than just unarmed black people in this country being gunned down unjustly by police. I mean, Black Lives Matter also takes on a broader global context, and this is what AFRICOM is saying. AFRICOM is saying that Black Lives Matter there too. You know, and
or
that
shut down AFRICOM is saying.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, and this is the reason why AFRICOM has to be shut down, because AFRICOM is, like you said, is operating under the same playbook as the police departments is over here. It's basically to brutalize police black bodies and brutalize black bodies, but what it does is exploitation, is resources. I mean, the exploitation of resources, the same thing that the police is doing here to allow the capitalist forces to exploit the resources within black communities, and the gentrify and all this other kind of stuff. So it's the same mindset, and capitalism has to expand in order to survive. And so AFRICOM is there to make sure that these corporations, these American, and not just American, but these Western European corporations, that they still get their hand in the cookie jar without paying for it.
That's right.
Dr. John Henry Clarke said that Africa is a place that everybody wants something, but they don't want to pay for it. Isn't that the way it is over here? That black labor is not adequately compensated? Hasn't that been our history in this country? Hasn't that been the history of black and brown bodies all over the world under capitalism? It's just plain exploitation.
Absolutely. So today on October 1st, we have been sharing information. If you've seen on our page, we've been sharing a lot of information from Black Alliance for Peace around this campaign. You can get more information on the connections between what is happening on the continent in several countries. I think it's 28 countries where AFRICOM has a presence. And the African people do not want AFRICOM. They do not want the United States military in their countries. They've always opposed AFRICOM, but it's kind of hard to oppose an imperial giant when you're fighting right off the heels of colonialism, and you don't have the assistance and the support of your relatives from the belly of the beast. This is why we need to focus on international solidarity with our brothers and sisters, not just in the diaspora, but on the continent, because they are reaching out for our help, and we definitely need theirs. So
I love that Brother Jama Baraka, who's also part of Black Alliance for Peace, and he always says this: Africa must be free.
Africa
and
must
this
be free.
This has always been the understanding of people like Marcus Garvey and others who understood that once you free Africa, and of course the enemies understand this too, that once you free Africa, why do you think they're there? They're there because they couldn't exist without Africa.
Exactly.
They're there because the wealth of France and Germany and all these other colonial, Western imperialist, greedy bloodsuckers, they couldn't exist. They would still be a bunch of fighting tribes running around in a continent that hardly can produce anything without them taking it. So they, so the thing of it is that they understand that they could not. I mean, what? I think Niger, you mentioned Niger. I think Niger is responsible for 75% of France's electricity.
Right, from the uranium.
Right,
that
from
comes
uranium.
From
right.
Niger.
And trust me, if we was to go to Niger right now and watch the average person who lives in Niger, black person, I guarantee you would not see the economic relationship trickle down to them.
Right.
So who is being paid for, if anything, from the 75%? Uranium, the response. Who's getting paid for the assistance that Niger is giving France to make sure that their lights stay on? And we never would think, we would never think of countries like France and them, needing, to keep their lights on. But this is the relationship. It's a parasitic relationship that the Western Europe and America has with the continent of Africa and with its people.
Exactly. When people always talk about Africa and the U.S. Presence in Africa, and then we'll move on. We'll close on this and we'll move off this topic because we got to get to this debate. People always say, well, what about what China is doing? China is actually paying for what they need in Africa. China is not acting by and large as an imperialist force in the country. China's not building a bunch of military bases in Africa. I think they may have one on the entire continent.
They have one.
Russia, I don't think, has any on the continent.
But Russia's in the process. The last report I read is that Russia is in talks of reopening their former bases.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, but even still, they still wouldn't have the footprint that the United States has on the continent.
But I'm glad you mentioned this. Forgive me for interrupting. But I'm glad you mentioned it. Why would Russia want to reopen their bases? Why would China and even Japan has a base in Africa?
Yeah, they do.
And all of this is because of America.
Exactly.
If there was no American expansion militarily on in this continent, then other nations wouldn't feel because see, everyone knows that Africa is the future. Everyone knows this. Africa. Let's just look at it in just real terms. 35 to 40% of the world's resources remain in Africa.
That's right.
Right? The Congo alone has cobalt, which is important in all of our electronic instruments and stuff. Most of the world's cobalt is in the Congo. So, so we're looking at a world that is becoming more and more resourceless. And so all of these economic powerhouses, the Chinas and America and stuff, in order to keep that going, where they're going to get the resources from.
Right.
So everybody is making sure that they got a seat at the table of Africa. It's somebody made this comparison, but it's almost like the Belgian conference all over again. Except it's not so blatant.
Right.
But still, you still got outsiders there trying to get their piece of the pie, which is Africa, and that's why it's so important, as we Pan-Africanists always say. That's why Black people and those of us of African descent understand that we have to view our home continent, because it is our home continent. We have to view our home continent with the same fervor importance as those who want to continue to exploit it.
Right.
And
exactly.
So
exactly. Yeah. So that's there's a larger conversation that we do need to have, and that we will have. Someone asked us the other day about China's Belt and Road Initiative, and we are going to have a conversation about that. But as far as the United States is concerned, this is what you need to know about the United States, China, Russia, and Africa. The United States is in Africa partially to be the last military bulwark against the growing geopolitical influence of China. They want to stop China's influence. But the United States is not doing anything positive for the African people. They claim they're there to fight terrorism, but they're just creating more unrest and instability. China, on the other hand, is not militarizing anywhere in Africa. They're actually paying for some of what they want. China's relationship with Africa is not without fault, not without criticism, but they're not colonizing the continent. So Africa needs to be persona non grata is not quite the phrase, but AFRICOM needs to be shut down. So you can get more information from Black Alliance for Peace by going to their website, blackallianceforpeace.com, and go to the Day of Action AFRICOM tab, and you get all of these materials, a teaching guide, an article for why we focus on Africa, also in Spanish, all kinds of graphics and other information that you can get to educate yourself on this issue of AFRICOM and why we need to shut it down. And it is part of a larger campaign of getting Africa out of getting AFRICOM out of Africa that Black Alliance for Peace always has going. It's an ongoing campaign to get the U.S. out of Africa and to shut down AFRICOM. So go to blackallianceforpeace.com, see how you can support and even join, because we need you.
Yes, man. Yes, we really do. We really do. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, man.
That's one of our favorite WPFW radio personalities, the guy who hosts Caribbeana.
Right.
And he is so funny. He does that all the time. The guest host will call him on the phone, and they'll talk to each other, and he'll say, "So, Baba, how are you doing? How was your week? Did you have a good week? And he'll say,
yes. It was very good, man. Very good. Yes. Wonderful. So splendid.
But you know what wasn't good? You know what wasn't very good?
What wasn't good?
That damn debate.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, that thing was... Okay, first of all, it was probably one of the funniest things. Not for any good reasons, but it's got to be one of the funniest debates I've ever seen in my life. And I watch debates. I do. I watch political. Y'all ought to know by now that we're junkies with politics. So if somebody's like, "Hey, there's a debate," we're like, "What we doing tonight?" Okay. But here's my contention. I feel like nobody should have been surprised by anything Donald Trump said or did.
I agree.
I mean, I just kind of like, I'm not sure what people thought Donald Trump was going to be and do. I don't know if people thought that he was going to all of a sudden, like, give a shit about decorum, right? And rules and composure. I don't know what people thought.
That he was actually going to be an adult.
Yeah, I'm just like, why were y'all surprised? I mean, okay, I will admit, I was surprised at how bombastic he was. That, I was like, yo, he's on 11. He's like the kid in Sunday school who drank 5 cups of red drink.
Of the church juice.
Yep.
Anybody who knows about church juice knows what you're talking about. Forget crack. I mean, you get a squig of that Kool-Aid, man. I mean, oh God.
I used to teach Sunday school at a church that they banned red drink because it would hype the kids up so much. And they were just like, stop buying red drink to give these kids. No more red drink. And I just feel like Donald Trump was that kid in Sunday school who would like drink. You know how you would line the cups up for the kids to come take.
I know. Vacation Bible school.
Yeah, who would like drink 2-3 cups of red drink real quick.
That was me. That was me.
Get hyped up on sugar, and then you couldn't control that monster for the next 90 minutes in that class. That's what he reminded me of, and I'm just like, yo, that's just crazy. The stuff that he was saying was obviously, most of it was lies.
Of course.
The problem was, when he told the truth, it was pretty damning. But the stuff that were lies they were just hilarious. Just ballots are coming in from China. I think he said that. And there was an instance, somebody did correct me about some ballots that have been rejected because they weren't in the proper envelope. The absentee ballots, because in a lot of places you have to put the ballot in the envelope, and then you have to put the envelope with the ballot in it in a security envelope before you put it in the mail, right? And Americans suck at following directions, so because we don't read shit past the headlines. So, and we know that from social media and the stuff we post. So, people were just filling out their ballot, put it in the first envelope and sticking it in the mail. So it gets to the, polling place or where processes are. And it's not in the security envelope. So it gets rejected. So I think it was a case in Pennsylvania where they found a bunch of those rejected ballots. They were dumped in the river like, yo, come on, y'all. Don't. But Trump made it seem like this was like a widespread, like, Antifa was going to go and take all the ballots for Donald Trump, which you can't even tell who people voted for when the ballot is still inside the initial envelope. It's just not in the security envelope.
Right.
But
I mean, even Trump's own head of the FBI, I mean, he even said that there's no evidence of this, this conspiracy to steal Republican mail-in ballots and all this stuff that Trump's been and not just Trump and his cronies, all this lying they've been doing. I mean, even the FBI, and then as soon as which is really what this administration is made of. As soon as the FBI said that, instead of going with what the which is what the top cop, you know, the FBI. Oh, then all of a sudden they say, oh well, he couldn't even find an email that, you know. So immediately with the insult, the spirit of Roy Cohn is still floating around in the Trump administration.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought up Roy Cohn. Thank you for bringing up Roy Cohn. If you want to understand why Trump is the way he is, you've got to watch this documentary on Netflix about Roy Cohn. You watched it first. And normally I don't go in for the political documentaries because they're just kind of boring to me.
That's why I'm here.
This is, yes, it is. But
all those people that call me Encyclopedia Ab, that's why I'm here.
This is how he became, one of the ways he became and maintains his status as Encyclopedia Ab. He watches the documentaries, I won't. But it is a fascinating documentary, and as much as Roy Cohn is a despicable human being, politically and outside of politics, you kind of sort of feel a little sorry for him too, because he was treated really bad in some aspects, but it doesn't excuse the despicable human being he became and how he used that despicable aspect of his personality to influence right-wing politics.
Yes.
You gotta watch that documentary. Understand who Roy Cohn is. You'll understand part of the reason Donald Trump and pretty much all of the GOP now is the way they are. But, so that's my take on just overall. I don't understand how people are surprised that. I don't get why people are all freaked out. Oh my God, he didn't repudiate white supremacy. Well, he never did. I don't understand. Why?
Right. I mean, this is a guy who was told that 5 teenagers who were falsely accused of a rape in Central Park, known as the Central Park 5, when it was without a shadow of doubt that these kids were framed, that they were innocent. And after putting out a page before all of this, Donald Trump put out a full-page ad calling for their execution.
Their execution.
Right. And so after they've been exonerated, and without a shadow of a doubt they've been exonerated. I mean, he still say that they're guilty. He refused to even acknowledge that first of all that these kids that these young men are innocent. And the fact that he was just wrong, and and not to have the humility to say, "Well, I apologize." This is the same guy talking about law and order,
right?
But then you believe in law and order, but when the same law and order says that people are innocent, then
it's like, oh, fuck law.
Yeah, but that's only if it's black people,
right? Exactly, because he's
or the Mexicans who
because he's pardoned a whole bunch of white criminals,
right?
But, excuse me, not only when it was revealed, that the exonerated 5 now were innocent and framed, but when they settled their lawsuit with the city of New York, he took out another full-page ad and said that the city of he had never seen a con job and a ripoff as big as what the city of New York was subjected to when they settled with them.
Because he wouldn't share his tax returns. That's why. See, we didn't know about that con job. We didn't know about that,
I mean, okay. I am just, aside from Trump acting like, a 5-year-old hyped up on sugar with Tourette's.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for people who know people who have Tourette's. I'm sorry.
Or ADHD or something.
Or ADHD, or whatever.
One of those bullshit made up diseases.
Well, Tourette's isn't bull. Come on.
Well, no, I'm talking about, ADHD or whatever. I don't know.
So, aside from that, I was struck by Chris Wallace being the most ineffective debate moderator I've seen in my life. Now, at first, I thought,
Chris Wallace is no lightweight.
That's true.
That's true. I mean, out of Fox News, he's the only one I like.
That is, I will give him that much. He is the only one I sort of halfway trust not to completely bullshit an interview and just softball these people.
Right.
Because, okay. But, at first I'm thinking, well, he's not doing such a bad job. But the more Trump just wouldn't shut the hell up.
Yeah.
I'm like, Chris, tell audio to cut that man's mic. You're the moderator of this debate. You are the official between these two people. In a debate, the moderator is the official. Not the president, not the vice president. The moderator is the official. Just like at our church, I'm the moderator of my church.
Mm-hmm.
So I am the highest ranking lay person in the church. So when we have meetings, and I only know this because I had to study Robert's Rules of Order in order to do my job as the moderator. So when we have meetings, I'm the one who decides who speaks, who doesn't. If people get out of line, I can snatch their mic and tell them, you can't ask another question. You forfeit your turn, your next turn at the mic. I can cut people off. I can tell people we're not addressing that. That's not relevant. The moderator is the official of a debate. Chris Wallace did a crappy job because really all he had to do was he didn't even have to talk to Trump anymore.
Right.
He really shouldn't have. He should have told Trump, he should have told the audio folks, cut his mic. And he should have said, Mr. President, I'm going to give you one more opportunity. This is your last warning. If you interrupt again, I'm going to turn your mic off and you will forfeit your turn to answer the next question.
But here's the problem.
What's the problem?
Here's the problem. Chris Wallace works for Fox News.
True.
Now, and the reason why I say that now, this is no shade on Chris, who I like I said, I like him and I believe that he's one of the few respected journalists over at Fox News. But Fox News's viewership heavily made up of Trump supporters.
Yes.
And
yes.
Chris like, yo man, brother gotta eat. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, I want to do this job the way it's supposed to be, but I know if I'm hard on this joker, you know, if I really do my moderating gig on him, and if I really go by the rules, then, you know, when I get back and do my show, man, I'm gonna have his whacked out supporters. They gonna be saying all kind of stuff about me. They gonna put pressure on me. I might even get my show canceled. You know, they gonna send me hate mail. I'm gonna get called up to the front office. I mean, you know, why did I treat Trump so bad? Trump is going to put pressure on the front office on why did Chris do that to me and all that. I thought that, you know, we had a understanding with Fox News. Now I'm not going on Fox anymore because of what Chris. So I'm sure that all of this was swirling in the mind of Chris. Chris said, okay, this is one debate, but I got to eat. You know what I mean? This is one debate. I might be here for maybe 2 or 3 more, but I got to eat. You know what I mean? And if Fox News somehow gets rid of me, and now outside of Fox, you think CNN gonna take me? You think MSNBC gonna take me? You know, and I've been reporting for the enemy all this time. So, you know, and another thing too, there's another issue that I believe that might have, you know, and I'm going to get into my take on the debate too. Mm-hmm. But also I believe that there is a thing now. And I think maybe people like Chris Wallace and stuff who came through a certain school of journalism remember a certain time when debates were debates. And I think there's a thing of low expectations. What I'm saying is he see the 2 clowns that's in front of him. And it's like, you know, you ever did this thing of like, you know, oh my God. You know, first of all, I know they're not going to rise to the occasion. They're not going to make me rise to the occasion. So you know what I'm going to do? Mr. President, what's your favorite color? Vice President Biden, you know, would you help an old lady walk across the street if she couldn't see and she had a cane or crutch? You know, would you do that? Mr. President, how about them Yankees? You know what I mean? So, you know, so I think it's a thing of like you said, do we think that we're the only one who sees this as a debacle? But look, I've already signed the contract. Chris said, I got at least go through the motion.
I just sit
there. You know what I mean? Okay. It's, you know, it's like being with a person that, you know, you're having sex with and you're not really attracted to them. You're like, just turn off the light.
Hey, wait a minute.
Well, you know what I'm saying. I'm you know, it's like, just, you know.
I feel that. I can see that. Yeah, Chris was just doing his job. He was just there so he didn't get fired.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because Trump supporters, man, and you know they, you know, unlike unlike a lot of us on the left. Well, I'm glad we're you know that the left is not like that. But I mean, we know how I won't even use that. We know the pressure that the Trump supporters can put on, and then Chris got to go back to work with people like Hannity and all. So I mean, so you know how it's going to be by the water cooler.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? You know, wow, Chris, really, Chris, wow.
There goes that fucking traitor, Chris.
Really, Chris. You know what I mean? You know, having a stick man figure on the wall. You know what I mean?
Chris with the news. Yeah, okay, I feel you. I guess he didn't want to come back to that. Okay, but that's my overall assessment of Trump. And I guess we'll get into his particular comments that people are all in a tizzy about, that I don't understand why people are all upset about it in a minute. But what did you think?
Well, I took the debate as a symbol of what this country has become.
Do tell.
All right, now, let me just put this on the table. First of all, I wasn't entertained. I was basically sad. I was sad. I didn't find it entertaining. I find it frightening. And the debate, to me, seeing those two old men up there, and believe me, I'm not an ageist, but I'm just saying, seeing those two people up there, the two people we have to choose from, and the performance that they called themselves giving, I seen this as symbolic of what this nation is. What do I mean by that, Baba? Well, the thing of it is that America is not the greatest nation on the planet. America is the sickest and most unhealthiest nation on the planet. And you see that in every level of our society. We're unhealthy, the most unhealthy people physically, because of not only the food choices that many of us have at our disposal, the way that we're being marketed to, our education system. We rank all the way like number whatever, but we're not even in the top 20 when it comes to education. Of course, the healthcare issue, we all know about that. Race relations. There is nothing in this society right now that's healthy. Even when it comes to the way our information is given to us, our information is given to us where we're not even informed. That's not healthy. We are constantly we're socialized to be to just be consumers. And so nothing that's given to, everything that's given to us, everything that's marketed to us is to keep us dumb, uninformed, sick, so everybody could sell stuff to us.
Wow.
And I've seen the debates, this so-called debacle, as the symbol of a nation that is sick in every level of this society, even at the top. And the top is rotten. So the body is rotten. And that's what I seen. I seen an America that is sick. I seen that. I mean, to look at this performance of these guys up here, I yearn for the days of a Baldwin and Buckley debate. Yeah. I yearn for the days when people actually had intelligent debate. I yearn for the day when Ronald Reagan and Walter Mondale debated. You know, and Reagan would come with the nice little zippers and stuff, and it wasn't this mean-spirited insults and all this other kind of stuff. I yearn for the debates when politicians lied to you and told you what they were going to do for you, and we knew they weren't, but at least they lied to you. What I saw in this debacle is they didn't even bother.
I'm glad you brought that up, but go ahead.
So I wasn't entertained. I wasn't laughing. I was sad because, see, we have grandkids, and I'm looking at those little girls and saying to myself, wow, how can I laugh? How can I be entertained when this is the country that they're going to inherit? I don't see it getting any better unless there's some real radical change. So I'm saying that this is, to me, indicative of an American society that's sick. You and I go out all the time. And as a truck driver, I see the way that we respond to each other. The road rage. No one's at peace because nobody has vacation. Nobody is being paid what they're worth. Everybody is on the brink of desperation, and so that plays out in our interactions with each other. So this is a society that's wound up tight, that's on edge, And it's in every level. We are the most unhealthiest, whether it's mental, physical, and spiritual. We are the most unhealthy, sick society that's on the face of this planet.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you put it like that, yeah. And you know, thinking of it that way, because I'm just going to be honest. I laughed through most of it because I was laughing at the fact that Joseph Biden made it abundantly clear that he was not going to be pushed to the left. So a lot of my laughing, I mean, Trump is not funny in his, in being Trump. He's a despicable human being, but how many times do we tell people that Donald Trump is a despicable human being? We said it ever since the man seriously announced that he would run for president.
Exactly.
And, I mean, people in New York were like, are people seriously thinking about voting for this dude? People in New York don't like Donald Trump. So, I mean, my laughter is at feeling like, you know what? On some level, this is what y'all deserve. You have the two candidates you deserve. Because you kept voting for the lesser of two evils. And God knows, since 2016, we former Bernie Sanders supporters, and not even that we necessarily supported Bernie Sanders, but we're like, dang, he's closer to what we want as far as domestic policies are concerned. So let's support him to, you know, get some help for us here domestically. And we thought about Sanders then, that people think about Biden now. Oh, we can push him on foreign policy that we don't like. I mean, but y'all didn't want that. Maybe not y'all who are watching, but a whole lot of your friends and your family members who told us we had to vote for Hillary Clinton or else we were throwing our vote away, and we didn't, you know, you didn't want the crazy socialist, and he's not a socialist. You didn't want that. So you had to have the candidate that the Democratic Party chose.
Oh, and they told us that voting for the Green Party was throwing our vote away.
Oh yeah, voting for the Green Party, throwing your vote away. Nobody ever says that about the Libertarian Party, which actually got a larger share of voters than the Green Party did in 2016, by the way. So it's ridiculous. Just the ignorance of American voters. There are 226 million registered voters in this country. I think that number is right. Half of those people voted. Half. And people put all of the people put all that on black folks. That's impossible. There's only 43 million of us. I mean, if that much.
Made sure it kept them numbers down, didn't you?
Ooh, that's a whole nother. Half of the registered voters in this country, over 100 million people who were registered to vote didn't vote. And most of y'all blamed the 40-some million black folks. And it's not even 40 million of us who are registered to vote. We're talking about 20 million.
Yeah, because, we do have kids and,
you got a bunch of kids in there, got
a whole massive incarcerated population that's black, so, exclude them.
And people actually blamed Hillary Clinton losing in 2016 not on Hillary Clinton not campaigning like she needed to earn the votes of people that she was supposed to govern for. It wasn't her fault. It was the blacks. Right. It was the 20-some-odd million blacks, most of whom the black voters who actually voted actually did vote for Hillary Clinton, even if they did support Bernie Sanders. So here you are in 2020 still trotting out the same ridiculous arguments about Joseph Biden when the Democratic Party has proven again in the primaries that they hate Bernie Sanders and they hate his leftist coalition. They hate his left politicians. They can't stand the progressive politicians, and they will not let them take over their party, to the point that they sabotage the primaries so that Sanders could lose again. And Joe Biden has been saying the whole time that he doesn't support these socialist policies from this crazy socialist dude that these crazy socialist kids want, and y'all didn't believe him until Tuesday night when that man stood on that stage. And when Donald Trump tried to pin him with the socialist label, he tried really hard. What did Joseph Biden say? Well, Donald Trump said, well, you support the socialist Medicare for all. You support it. What did Joseph Biden say? I do not support Medicare for all. You gonna push him to the left? You gonna push him left on that? He just said he's not going to. That was funny to me because we have been arguing with folks online and in person about not being able to push Joseph Biden, and people just don't want to believe it. Now that you've heard it out of his mouth, you gonna believe it now? And now I'm wondering now what you're gonna do. What are you gonna do once you realize that if you vote for Joseph Biden, and if you do, that's fine, that's your business, you feel like you have to, but since you know you're not going to push him to the left, now what are you going to do? And
we've said on this show, way before, other people are echoing those sentiments now, but we said on this show before it was even popular, we said that there is no way that the left is going to be able to push Biden because you don't have any leverage.
None.
Biden knew then, as he's saying now, which is why he said this is his party. Mm-hmm. And this is why the Democrats are all pulling up their skirts and dropping their pants and telling us to kiss their ass.
Yep.
Is because they know we want Trump gone. They know this. And so they're like, they don't have to really give us nothing. The only thing Biden is saying is, I'm not Trump.
And, in one regard, for Trump's supporters, his performance at that debate, they loved it. They love that.
Of course.
And I mean, people really need to stop trying to reason with these folks. We say this all the time. I really want y'all to take this to heart. Stop trying to reason with your Trump supporting family members and friends. There's something wrong with the way they think. I'm not going to categorize your family members and friends. You know them better than we do. But stop trying to reason with these people. There's no reasoning with anybody who supports Donald Trump. There really is not. On the other hand, let me tell you something. I think we also need to stop arguing with Democrats and Biden supporters who continually vote shame folks who don't want to vote for Biden or who really hate Biden but are going to vote for him anyway, but continually say, look, I hate Biden because he's terrible. With that, I think this debate for me was like a confirmation of everything that we have been saying for the past, 2-3 years, that the time for discussion and debate about these issues is done. Right. It is over. There's no debating and discussing white supremacy. Donald Trump doesn't want to repudiate white supremacy. Okay, fine. He gave a clarion call to the Proud Boys, and they have, it was really it was crazy how he said what he did. And I think it was actually Chris Wallace who brought up the organization, the Proud Boys. Right, it wasn't Trump.
It wasn't Trump. Well, Trump was doing what he was doing during the Charlottesville thing when they were trying to pin him down on repudiating white supremacy. Give me a name.
Right.
Now, he has no problem saying Antifa like he's talking about some 90s black girl rapper. You know what I mean? Antifa. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for it to be like, and we have to stop Antifa. Hey, where I am.
That's where I am. Where do you want to stop me,
Where's my Antifa at? Antifa, and Queen Antifa, where is she? Queen Antifa. Oh, there you go. Queen Antifa. Yeah, she's a riot.
We did not say this show was going to be serious. But I mean, you're right. That he forced Chris Wallace to name a group. He did. Mm. And people need to understand that yes, Donald Trump is he's a rejected Sopranos character. He's like, he really did remind me of like a character from The Sopranos who was whacked in the first season.
Right. He reminds me of Ralphie.
See, I knew you were gonna think of a Sopranos.
Ralph Cifaretto. Ralph Cifaretto. That's who he reminds me of. Ralph Cifaretto. Nobody wanted him around, but but you couldn't do anything to him because he was a made guy. Yeah, but you didn't want him around. That's it. Ralph Cifaretto.
So Donald Trump is the Ralph Cifaretto of The Sopranos, And, you know, yeah, he's a pain in the ass and nobody wants him around. And yeah, he's a complete clown and a fool, but he is really masterful at manipulating the media. And he manipulated the hell out of Chris Wallace and Joe Biden Tuesday night. He absolutely did, because he was the one, like you said, who got Chris Wallace to mention the Proud Boys. So then Trump says, well, okay, I'll tell them to stand down and stand back and stand by.
Right.
Oh, people lost their minds, and the Proud Boys, they put that up on their website, and I'm pretty sure by now they've got T-shirts and patches and hats that say stand back and stand by.
Well, there was one, somebody said they wasn't going to sell. I don't know, but I heard something today because of the colors.
Yeah, because they co-opted the symbol. I think it was, I can't remember.
But if any of you guys out there know who this
the designer
is, please let us know. But they said that they wasn't going to sell.
Yeah, they said they were going to retire the design because the Proud Boys have used it. They're just going to not have the design anymore. And somehow I think that's the wrong thing to do. I think they should sue the hell out of the Proud Boys. That's what I think they should do. But that's just me.
But I was looking at Uncle Brother's comment. No, he hasn't uttered the word white supremacist. I mean, if you're talking about Trump, because and that's the thing. They tried to pin him down on Charlottesville. Trump understands that that's the majority. That's where his support comes from.
Exactly, and he's not going to repudiate his support.
He's maintained a consistent 43% support. And most of that 43%, I'm not going to say all of it, but most of that 43% are people who share racist viewpoints. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know, and they're not. He is not going. He knows that if he was to disavow himself from the white supremacist organizations, his support drops down to probably 10%.
10%. Now think about that. Thank you for bringing up that number, 43%. Here's the thing that is upsetting people. Here's the thing that's freaking people out. And no, Uncle Brother, he did not say Proud Boys. Chris Wallace said it.
Right.
Here's the thing that freaks people out. Is that they know that it's 43% of the American population that supports Trump because they hold racist ideologies. And it's that 43% number that people are terrified about. It's not Trump. It really isn't. It's because you are realizing now, after all this time of us telling you, it's a whole lot of racist ass white people in this country, a lot more than you want to be comfortable with. Now you realize Donald Trump is showing you with his campaign, with his presidency, that we've been right all along. That's not his goal, but this consistent 43% of support, who else could support this man but white supremacists?
Right.
So he is proving that we've been right all along, and a whole lot more Americans are racists than you have ever been comfortable with. And now you realize, now y'all looking at your neighbors sideways. Now y'all looking at your family members sideways, your Trump supporting family members and neighbors and friends and co-workers. And you're asking yourself, oh my God, are these people racist? Like we've been telling you all along, fuck yes, they are.
And you know what really scares me? You know, because I was thinking about this today. Trump reminds me a lot of Woodrow Wilson, but without the intelligence, right? Well, Woodrow Wilson, a racist, you know, but had the same connection to the Klan, had the same sympathy to the Klan, had the same sympathy to white supremacy,
right?
You know, viewed Birth of a Nation in the White House, came to Washington and resegregated Washington, and you know, the federal government resegregated the federal government and the military and everything like that. And so here we are in a time where this outward expression of anti-black sentiment that's coming from the White House, it reminds me so much of the Woodrow Wilson administration, except that it would scare me if Trump had Woodrow Wilson's education and intelligence.
Right.
That would scare the hell out of me even more.
Now, that would be frightening. But because Trump is a childish, petulant boor who just happens to be a white supremacist also, he is inept with his white supremacy. See, I've always contended that the one you need to be afraid of, truly afraid of, is Mike Pence. He's the one you need to be afraid of. Stephen Miller, he's the one you need to be afraid of. Trump is the figurehead. He's the personality. The brains behind that operation, they're much more terrifying than Trump. So, okay, what else did I want to say about Trump? I don't think I wanted to say anything else about him. I just think it's just kind of ridiculous how people are like, oh my God, he's unleashed the white supremacists. Yo, are y'all serious? White supremacists and militia groups have been training and killing people and shooting up schools and lynching black folks, and they have not stopped. They didn't just, I mean, yeah, they have been emboldened to put their training into practice through mass mobilizations, I guess, if you want to call it that. But they've always been there, and we told y'all they've always been there. I mean, I don't know.
Well, we when Trump first got elected, and some of you guys who's been with us for a while, and you can go back to some of our earlier shows around the time that Trump got elected, we said on this show that Trump not only was a necessary evil, what we meant by that was Trump was going to, like COVID, Trump was going to expose a lot of the cracks in the wall of American society that was constantly being plastered and all this stuff. Trump was going to expose the cracks in the wall just like COVID has. Mm-hmm. We also said that Trump is the Messiah that the white supremacists in this country have been waiting for.
You said that first. Last year before last on this show, and I was watching CNN last night. I'm not kidding you all. I was watching CNN Tuesday night because I was just so, I mean, I laughed throughout a lot of the debate, but I really was disturbed by, like, good God, this is just the worst shit show. But I was watching CNN afterward, and one of those talking heads on CNN said the exact same thing you did. And I'm like, we need to sue him. We just need to sue him for stealing out. We've been telling you this. None of what you saw on Tuesday night about Donald Trump should have been a surprise to you if you would just listen to black folks. If you would just listen to indigenous folks. If you would just listen to Chicano folks. We knew this. And this is not to say that what these white supremacists want to do and have been doing, because they've been assaulting and killing people since these protests began. This is not to say...
they've been assaulting and killing people since 1619.
Since 1619, to tell you the truth.
But,
since 1492.
Yeah, exactly. Since 1492.
Since 1492. So this is really not new, y'all. So this is not to say that they're not dangerous. Of course they're dangerous. Yes, of course they're dangerous. But stop blaming their dangerous nature on Donald Trump. Just stop. He took the door off the hinges. But the door was always open for those people. Those people have always been infiltrating the military and the police. They didn't infiltrate anything. Those institutions were created for them. Come on, we've had these conversations. All right, I think enough about him. I need to talk about Joseph Biden.
Okay, the mummy. Because that's what it was. I mean, to me, the debate was between the petulant child versus the mummy. You know what I mean? You suck. You suck. You suck. You suck too. You suck too. Yeah. I know I suck, but who are you?
Oh, wait, do the shut up. Do the won't you shut up? Do that. What he said, why don't you just shut up? Do that like the mummy.
Okay. So why don't you just shut up? Would you just shut up, man? Yeah. Oh my goodness. I mean, even walking to the podium.
Okay.
Have to turn Biden this way. No, it's right there. Right there.
Why don't you just shut up,
man? Why don't you just shut up, man?
No, Biden's this way.
Yeah,
You just shut up,
man. Yeah.
Okay. Look here. Joseph Biden got baited by Donald Trump so many times that it was. I actually started to feel a little sorry for him toward the end. Not a whole lot of sorry,
right.
but a little bit, because look, you can't go toe to toe with a wannabe mobster that is Donald Trump. You cannot go toe to toe with that man with insults. He's a WWE World Wrestling Entertainment Hall of Fame. He really is.
Yeah.
You can't go toe to toe with this dude. And there's no need to. If you actually have policies that you want to talk about that people are interested in, but of course Joe Biden knew that he didn't have any policies that anybody was interested in, so that's why you didn't hear about those things a whole lot. He was right. I think he accurately talked about Trump's response to COVID. But here's what you didn't hear from Biden. What his response to COVID would have been and what he will do should he win in November. Because let me tell you what Biden is not going to do. He ain't going to get us an additional relief check. That's not going to happen. He's certainly not going to get us regular relief checks, like countries that this government demonizes as evil socialist cesspools do, like Venezuela,
right.
Cuba, China, Vietnam, those other countries that have gotten some kind of control over the virus because they provided for their people on a regular, made sure they had money to pay their bills and made sure they had food and medicine and free testing and treatment. Yeah, none of that was coming from Joseph Biden. His response was to say that he agreed with Trump that the country needed to be open, but that it needed to be open safely and responsibly. Send businesses masks. That's what he said. That's basically what he said. So Biden would have done the same thing Trump did in encouraging businesses to reopen, only the Biden administration would have sent the businesses some masks and some signs so that people could social distance properly.
Yeah.
Look, the man said what he said. Go back and watch the tape. You didn't hear him say that he was going to do anything different from what Trump. He was right to point out that Trump lied, but Trump supporters don't care that he lied. They don't care. He was right to point out, the other things that he did about, Trump's response, but he really didn't differentiate himself on what he would do differently in January.
Well, what I found interesting was these two old white men going back and forth about what they did for us. I mean, now, if that was an entertaining moment for me, I could say, Trump is going to try to hold, and this is what was said, because Biden was talking about the effect of COVID on the African American community.
Yeah,
because Trump was talking about, again lying about how great we're doing in his administration and stuff, and Biden was bringing up like, well, hey, COVID is hitting the African American community pretty hard. You haven't done anything about this and that. And then Trump, typical Trump, in the spirit of Roy Cohn, well, what about the 1994 crime bill?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought it.
I mean, and he told Joseph Biden, he told the mummy, he said, you should be begging for their forgiveness. You know what I mean? He didn't say that in the debate. He said that at a rally. But he told Joe Biden, like, hey, look, in a way, he's saying, like, yeah, you claim that, you love and want to do so much for black people. But what about 1994 crime bill? You know what I mean?
He said, you call them super predators.
Yeah.
And they don't forget that.
And they
remember.
It. Right. And I wish he would remember it was Hillary Clinton who said that. It wasn't Biden.
Thank you.
But at the same, but it just was really angering me that here you had Biden, let's start with him, who been in the Senate so long, was vice president to President Obama, and was responsible for the passage of the 1994 was responsible for a large part for the 1994 crime bill, which contributed to our mass incarceration of mostly black people, and yet you want to hold Trump to the fire about COVID, and yet, like you just said, Jackie, I don't think we would have been doing much better if Biden was president, if he was just sending masks and signs to businesses and saying that he was not going to do anything financially or economically or increased medical coverage. You know, none of those things. So it really like angered me that you would talk to Trump about what he wasn't doing for black people. And you know, one thing in Trump's defense is he hasn't been in government as long as Biden. So, you know, so you're talking about Biden who worked with segregationists, who this and that and the third. And so it's like, okay, and I think Trump even said this to him, like, well, what you did for 27 years.
Yeah, 47 years.
47 years.
And you know what? That I have to give Trump points on that because, like, you know, Biden comes on the stage as if he's the great savior from Trump. Right. But you've had 47 years to do something. Okay, let's just talk about black folks. And you're right. It was Hillary Clinton who called us super predators. Joseph Biden called us predators on the floor of the Senate in that speech in which he said that let me get it right. Once this crime bill is passed, no one will ever say the Democrats are not tough on crime again. Mm-hmm. That was Joseph Biden. Right. Talking about having to control these predators, not super predators. Trump was right. Predators running around, running amok in the streets. That's what he said.
Hillary had to outdo him with super predator, though. Oh, no. They're not just predators. They're super predators. You know.
So, I mean, I feel like obviously, you know, Trump bringing up Biden's son and the whole military thing. I feel like Biden missed an opportunity to hit Trump over the whole tax returns thing. Yeah. Not necessarily the fact that Trump didn't pay any taxes. We knew that.
But see, he missed the opportunity. You're right. He was advised not to. And the reason why I believe he was advised not to, because in this country, attacking wealth, for whatever reason, it's something about Americans.
Yeah, you're right.
That attacking wealth.
It's sacrosanct. You can't do that.
Right, you can't do it. And I think he was advised not to do that because the first thing that you know, the so-called average American or whoever, you know, because just like back in slavery times, why most white folks supported slavery, because they felt that one day they get to own some slaves. That added, if we worked hard and we work hard enough, we'll get a couple of slaves too, and have So that mindset, because of the myth making propaganda in this country, that, you know, everybody would be able to attain their wealth if they just worked hard. They see Trump as somebody who just outsmarted the system. They see Trump as somebody who, you know, so to attack him over income tax and attack him for that, I think he was advised not to do that.
I think that's a good point.
You know,
I think you're absolutely right. I think you are absolutely right, and I hadn't thought of that. That's true, because a whole lot of people are sitting there thinking, "Well, heck, I want to be so successful that, you know, I can have the opportunity to have access to all these loopholes, so I don't have to pay a whole bunch of taxes too." You're right. You're absolutely right. I had not thought of that. So, you know, I think Biden, the biggest takeaway for me was, you know, obviously that Donald Trump is completely unfit to run a circus.
He is the circus.
I mean, people wanted this man. They voted for this man because they wanted him to run the country like he runs his business. And we kept telling people that his businesses are broke. He's filed bankruptcy 5 times, but people ain't want to listen. And now here we are.
But you remember, and I got to bring this up when you was talking about Biden being baited in the insult. You know, one of the things that people kept saying why Biden was such a good pick to go up against Trump, because Biden's a scrapper. Yeah, yeah. Remember hearing that? Oh, Trump. You know, he's not just going to overpower Biden because Biden's a scrapper. We've seen a little bit of that scrappiness at the debate. You gonna shut up, man?
I'm like, wait a minute.
It's like.
I was like, hold on. Where's the stories about corn pop? Where's the you know, challenging your opponent to some push-ups?
Right.
The ass kicking Biden didn't show up at the debate. You know, you had this you know, feeble old man who took his vitamins that day, who showed up to definitively declare that he's not a socialist and he doesn't support the Green New Deal. He doesn't support Medicare for all. He doesn't support Black Lives Matter, because when that question was asked, he was asked, if you support Black Lives Matter, what was his answer? I support the police.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said. So can we stop asking white people if they support Black Lives Matter, please? Can we just fucking stop? Because, I mean, if they did, we wouldn't have to be in the streets talking about Black Lives Matter. Come
Exactly.
on. Now, that whole conversation on race.
And and excuse me for interrupting, but also the fact that statistics are starting to show, this is what kills me. We've been dealing with oppression in this country since 1619, never had a break in the trauma, and white folks got a nerve to talk about they're mentally fatigued from hearing about black. There's a poll out now that a large, I think it's like 48% or something, but there's a large number of white folks are saying they're tired of hearing about Black lives. Oh, really?
Oh, you're tired of us saying it?
Oh, man. I mean, like I said, 500 years we've been dealing with this stuff, and you've been dealing with it for a couple of years, and all of a sudden you're tired.
And they haven't even been dealing with it.
Yeah,
They've
exactly.
just been watching it on TV.
But that pisses me off. I mean, I'm like, you fucking kidding me? Like you're tired of hearing about Black Lives Matter, and we've been dealing with this shit since 1619, and we still got to deal with it, but you're tired? That's white privilege.
Yeah.
The fact that you can sit up there and, the fact that you can check out of this shit.
Oh, I'm tired of hearing about the protests.
Right. That you can check out something that we can't do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I forget who it was that says, when I get up, I'm black every day when I get up. But, the fact that you have the privilege of saying, tired of hearing about it. Oh, Love American Style. Click. You know what I mean?
Love American Style. You are dating yourself.
I'm talking about, well, you get a certain age, you want to look at MeTV, classic TV. So it's like, all right, well, but whatever your favorite show is. But it's like, oh, no, they still talking about Black Lives Matter. Oh, I'm tired of hearing about that. But you can check out, because then not only you put your mask on, you go out, you don't have to worry about police stopping you. You don't have to worry about getting shot because you ate a hamburger or riding a bike or none of those other kind of things. You go on and you live your blissful whatever. But the fact that we still have to deal with this, and that's why I found this poll troubling, because I don't believe those 48% are just on the right.
No.
And that is where, if you're black in this country, this is where you have problems. This is the reason why black families are buying land and try to get safe spaces, because we're sitting here and saying that 48% is not just Trump supporters. That 48% is our white co-workers when we go to work and they're like, hey man, what's up, dude? This, that, and the other, man, but secretly, when they all for however they feel about themselves, they feel different. And so it's the same 48%, part of that 48% that said they wouldn't vote for Trump and went in there and voted for Trump. So, right. So when we talk about allies and we talk about this and that, it just really bothered me, Jackie, that I'm saying, wow, you mean you're mentally fatigued? Well, how about dealing with this shit for 500 years? So the fact that you have the privilege of checking out, that is something to be said. So you want to know what white privilege is? That poll is white privilege.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Excuse me. Joseph Biden's response to that whole question. I just think it was so obscene. 3 old white men having a conversation about race relations.
Oh my God.
I just thought that was just so ridiculously obscene.
Yeah, it's funny, like, Biden, I once worked with Jefferson Davis to make sure that, that black farmers were able to get us further away from the Capitol.
I mean, Trump said what he said. I don't know. There's no need to repeat what he said. Everybody heard it. Everybody
and we have a connection to Trump. As we have a connection to Trump.
What?
My first job when I got out of high school, well, not far after I got out of high school, my first job was as a laborer building Trump Tower.
Oh my God!
In Atlantic City, New Jersey. Yes, it was me. Yup.
Yes, it was me. Like you were solely responsible.
I wasn't so irresponsible. But I was a laborer when they were building Trump Tower. That was one of my first construction jobs. And that's in fact, that's when I first started really getting into trucks.
Well,
yep. So I mean, but right, and I didn't even know really much about Trump then because I was a much younger man. But I remember that work environment being kind of toxic now when I think about it. When I think about it. But again, man, Trump has been. I watched the old movie. And I think you and I watched the movie. We did. The one with the two MMA fighters, the guy that played Bane.
Yeah.
Warrior or something. I forget what it was. Uh-huh. Well, anyway, they have a scene in there because they had the big fight, and there's Trump Tower right there. So the guy's always been around.
He has.
He's always been around. He's always been this. But but again, when to sum up, like I said about the whole debates and stuff, I mean, America's in trouble, man. I mean, America's in trouble. There is no respect anymore for intelligence. I mean, we become an idiocracy.
Yeah, I mean, the movie was right.
The movie I mean, that satire really kind of right.
It wasn't inaccurate.
No.
Biden's response is as frightening as Trump's comments were for white people. And I'm just gonna say it. Biden's responses should really frighten black people, honestly. Because regardless of, I understand people think you need to vote for this man for harm reduction. Okay, but when Joseph Biden talked about law and order and agreed with Trump on supporting being law and order, and he talked about, I support law and order, but with justice. Mr. Crime Bill talks about justice. And he focused on, he didn't bring up police terrorism. He didn't bring up the lack of accountability in policing. Chris Wallace actually mentioned community control over the police. That shocked the hell out of me. He didn't mention defund the police. Mm-hmm. He said community control over the police. Now, I didn't expect Joseph Biden to understand what that is. He talked about community policing. And the way Biden described community policing, that's accurate. That is community policing. But that is not community control over the police. But he talked about community policing so he could avoid having the conversation about defunding the police. But he did say that, no, I do not support defunding the police. So you've got Joseph Biden, who is supposed to be the liberal savior from Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Who has stood on a debate stage and definitively said to the people who he wants to vote for him that he's not going to support Medicare for all, that he's not going to support the Green New Deal, that he's not going to support defunding the police.
And that he's going to increase the military budget. He's going to increase police budgets. So, he's going to be tougher on Venezuela. He's even going to be tougher on China.
The foreign policy debate is the next one. That's why you didn't hear anything about foreign policy.
Right.
Because that debate is the next one.
But he's already been on record saying that.
He's going to be to the right of Donald Trump.
And I'm going to tell you what all of this means. When you said, and you were so right, that you said that we as black people should be really afraid or concerned or whatever about Biden's position. Mm-hmm. Because you're right. That debacle, Biden's performance in that debacle, what he was communicating, it wasn't for Democrats. It wasn't for the people that's going to vote for him. It wasn't for black people. It wasn't for all of those things. Trump and Biden are both competing for that 43%.
Thank you. That's right. So, folks, black folks, you're not getting anything from Joseph Biden. If you think that things are going to get better for us, the material condition of our people is going to improve under a Biden presidency, get that out of your mind. What you're going to get is not Trump. That's really what you're going to get. These protests are going to go on. I hope they do. And the police are still going to be kicking protesters' asses. They're still going to be arresting protesters. These right-wing folks are still going to be in the streets, assaulting and killing protesters. All that's going to continue under Biden. You know why? Because it happened under Obama. I don't understand where people were during Ferguson and Baltimore and Standing Rock and Occupy Wall Street.
We need a plan B, and that's it. The electoral politics process for many of us, man, is not the way, and so we need a plan B, and that's it. And I know a lot of folks don't want to hear that, but again, like you said, Biden is no one's savior.
No. So, going forward, in the next near future, for Luke My Nation, we are going to focus more on what that plan B is. It might include some electoral politics where it's necessary, but we don't believe that's where we need to go right now. What we need to do is build a working class a coalition of...
Well, that's our next show, the blueprint.
Yeah, the blueprint. The coalition for the poor and working class folks to organize and build the movement that we need to impact and enact change in this country that we're not going to get from the elected officials of either major party.
No, we're just going to stay mad.
All the time.
That's all. We're just going to stay mad. So, towards the 2020, 2024, we're going to be mad. 2028, we're going to be mad.
Yeah, what comes out? 2032?
Yeah, we're going to be mad.
If we're still around,
right.
If we haven't been hit by an asteroid, or if climate change hasn't killed most of us, we're going to be mad.
Right.
Unless y'all get to work. And we got to. So, look, that's our thoughts on the first presidential debacle. We hope y'all had a good time. We see that y'all over here in the YouTube chat, you had a good time. Uncle Brother and Zach Mills. And Uncle Brother said that Hope Hicks, Trump's, what is she? I have to look at, Trump's aide. Hope Hicks tested positive for COVID. She traveled with Trump to the rally yesterday.
Wow. So we're waiting to see what that's going to be like. Yep.
Anyway, we're not going to comment on that. That's because we are Christians, so I'm trying to stay, in the good graces of the Lord today. While I still got some hours left. Thank y'all so much, Kai Watts and Uncle Brother and Alex and Zach.
Well, I got
a new person over here on YouTube, Zenate Devereaux. Hey, what's up? I see y'all were commenting on the stuff we were saying about China. We're gonna have a conversation about China in Africa. We definitely are. So y'all stay tuned.
All right. Well, my Facebook family over here. I mean, it's only a few of us. This, it's like I got Lisa SK, I believe. Thanks for and our old friend Trasido Umbra.
Hey, Trasido.
Yep. Well, they're the two that's in there. We had a few lurkers hanging around, but they didn't comment.
We love
but I want to give some of the comments that Trasido said. He said about the laughing part. He said, I laugh because it beats the insanity. Just being honest, I'm horrific inside. And he also said this. I'm writing it now thanks to Democrats. They removed my candidate from the actual ballot.
So he's talking to, I think he's talking about Howie Hawkins,
right.
Where in Pennsylvania,
yes.
I think the Democrats sued to have Howie Hawkins and Angela Walker removed from the ballot. But that's democracy, right?
Right. Lisa SK said the next day Don said to press he doesn't know anything about Proud Boys, like toddler and potty training, hiding in a quiet corner to do number 2 in their diaper and not telling the grown-up they need to go to the bathroom. Thank you, Lisa. I love that.
Oh, we love y'all so much. We really appreciate you spending some time with us this evening on our special broadcast of Live and Coffee, Current Events and Politics in Luke My Nation.
Always the most dangerous show on social media.
So listen, if you like what you see and hear here in Luke My Nation, please consider becoming a patron. You can find us on patreon.com/LukeManNation, LuqManNation. But you can always subscribe to us on YouTube, share our videos from there, follow us on Facebook, share our videos from there, and you can follow us on Twitter, where we're starting to tweet a little bit more regularly, but not all as much as some folks.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to Instagram yet.
No, we're not. I don't think we're doing that.
No, we have an Instagram account.
It's there, but
right.
it's just there. But you can follow us on Twitter at LukeMonNation, the number 1. So appreciate y'all so much. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us tonight. And as always, be really good to each other. And we say to you, peace, but only if you are willing to fight for it. Good night.